Welcome to Backstage Agents. Today we got a real special guest. His name is Kimo Quance. He's a very experienced agent. He was a DJ starting out in life, and he's just got a great story. So I think you should stick around and watch it. So thanks for coming out, man. Short notice. Wanted to get you on here, for sure. So thanks.
Thank you for having me.
First of all,
It's an awesome place.
yeah, man.
Good spot. We like it here at Nashville Cigar.
Yeah, Nashville Cigars killer.
Yeah.
So we've had a lot of guests that are, coming from the music business and or in the music business still. Wanted to get you on here because number one, you're super successful here already, I would believe.
Keep it coming.
Okay.
Keep it coming.
But, just like many of the musicians that come on here that turn into professional musicians, they decided one day to pack up their stuff and take the plunge and move to Nashville. So you've done that with real estate. So
yeah, my music career did not go good. So
we were gonna talk about your DJing career as a 16-year-old at the high school prom. But let's just say we know how that went.
Yeah.
But I mean, so you
Well, hold on. Let's stop there real quick.
Okay,
though,
let's
if you don't
talk
mind.
about how great it was.
So I did DJ with the Doobie Brothers. I did a
Never
company
mind.
party at the Amgen, a large pharmaceutical company. Their company party. I DJ'd their party, and the Doobie Brothers was playing. I was on stage. Doobie Brothers were playing right there. That's it. Now we can move on.
I retract.
That's my one claim to fame in
Retract
DJing.
all previous statements. Redact that. Yeah. That's a pretty cool gig, playing for the Doobie Brothers.
Yeah.
I'd put that right on
I didn't play for them,
with them. By the shrimp.
Yeah,
Cocktail shrimp. It's like a Naples gig.
Yeah.
But so you be after that until you got your real estate license. How long did that take? Were you in any other line of work? Was you always in sales?
Yeah. So out of high school, I joined the Coast Guard. So I was a punk kid and decided I think I need the military or something to straighten me up a bit. And so my dad was retired Navy, and so I decided I was always like kind of someone who went against the grain. And I had actually never heard of the Coast Guard like 3 months before I joined. And I was like, my grandfather was a Marine, my dad was Navy, my uncle was in the Army. I was like, what's this Coast Guard? Let me do something different, So I joined the Coast Guard. And then out of there, I was 23 years old, and my buddy, he's like worked at the car dealership, and he was crushing it. Same age as me, 23 years old, making a killing in early 20s in the car business. And he's like, why don't you come sell cars? And second month in, outsold everybody at the dealership, got some fat paychecks.
Nice.
And I was like, ooh, this is nice. I like sales.
What kind of cars are you selling?
Ford and Mazda.
Wow.
Yeah.
Fat checks.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, it was great.
That's a lot of cars.
The Ford customer allows you to make money off them. I worked at some of the other manufacturers later on, and those customers were a little tougher.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I can see why.
Yeah.
Get a Jaguar, guys.
Yeah.
Or maybe I'm saying that wrong. Jaguar. So cool. Yeah.
Yeah. So I got in sales, and I fell in love with that. And that was in 2005. The Vegas boom was happening before the crash. And so I was one of the ones who moved out to Vegas with that whole boom before the giant fall. And selling cars in Vegas, mid-20s, bought my first house at 24. And in Vegas.
Wow.
And, and then I was like, Vegas got old after a couple of years. It's dirt and slot machines.
What's it like actually being a resident of Vegas? Because I've played there a ton over the years, but it's always just very, I go in, play, show, and leave. And it always just seems like this interesting ecosystem for people who actually live there.
Well, the people who live there, there's a lot of degenerates.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. But, a lot of people actually will like leave on their lunch break or whatever to go gamble.
Okay.
In 7-Eleven.
Yeah.
Not even in the nice casino.
Exactly.
Right.
A lot of the people don't go to the Strip, who live there. There's plenty of things to do off the Strip that locals go to, right?
Gotcha.
They're still pretty much casinos, just other casinos off the Strip.
Yeah.
But But yeah, but even that, I mean, it just gets old. I mean, it's dirt, and you forget what like trees look like.
Yeah.
You know, when you're out
It
there
is in
too
the
long.
desert.
Yeah, and I'm from San Diego, which is beautiful, and so it just got old. And I was, you know, my girlfriend and I were like, let's go to San Diego, go back to San Diego, and we moved back, and I was in the car business there, and that was when I really got into real estate. Was I decided to keep my house in Vegas and turn it into a rental. And so now I was 26 years old, having my first rental.
Nice.
And that's kind of where it started.
When did you decide cars? I mean, now it's 2006 or 2000, still 2005?
2007.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
That's when you decided to get your real estate license?
No, 2005, 2007, I was in Vegas and moved back to San Diego in 2007.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And
But you were selling cars at the same time.
selling cars, yeah.
Yeah.
And then the crash happened in 2008.
That's what I was saying.
That's when I was out of
Did you
business.
get your license?
That's when I was out of the business.
You're out of the business.
Out of the car business. No one was buying cars at that time. I don't
That's
know
right.
if you guys are so young, you may not remember. But
I'm not young.
I remember that well. So my mom's a loan processor and has been for a lot of years. So that's for like 20, 30 years now. And that's like the crash was a big thing in our house.
yeah.
A lot
Oh
of
yeah.
uncertainty in our household.
Yes. And so, but I was one of the ones I kept the house. I mean, I was, obviously a lot of people did strategic short sales, right? They didn't have to short sale, but they did it because it made
makes
sense.
Yeah.
I was like, you know what? I took out a loan, you know, and I'm going to pay this thing. I was coming out of pocket. I was renting the property for like $1,100. And I think my mortgage was like $1,800, something like that.
Wow.
And I was paying the difference for years.
Wow.
Until I sold it in 2013. But yeah, that was, I forgot where we were going with that, but
Well, yeah. I mean, I'm just transitioning to getting into real estate. You're already in real estate by that time. So what I know of you is you grew a team in San Diego. Did you do that right off the bat?
no, well, so I got my real estate license in 2013. So between 2007
What am I talking about?
and 2007, there's still more story.
Let's edit
There's
that part.
layers to me here.
Yeah,
Peel
okay,
back
yeah.
this onion, Dan.
Let's take it back to San Diego. I'm still in the strip, man.
Yeah.
I'm still in circus.
Yeah. Hey.
Circus
Yeah,
is in
Dan's
between my ears.
gambling right now.
I'm
He's going to
always-
the Double Down Saloon.
This is always circus here, but it's all right. So you're back in San Diego.
Yeah. So then I didn't know, I just knew I wanted to get in real estate, and I knew, you know, that was, I wanted to own properties. Right. And, I went to the bank because I needed a place to live in San Diego. I was like, there's no way they're going to give me a loan for another house or whatever, but I just tried anyways. They're like, yeah, well, you're a landlord, so your rent covers most of your mortgage. So that kind of wipes that out, and you make decent money, you know, so we can give you a second house. So I bought a house in San Diego. So now I'm 27 with 2 houses.
Wow.
And then I was like, okay, wait a second here. I'm a single guy. Why don't I just do this again? So I stayed in the house for a little while. And then I moved out, rented it out, went and got another loan, got a third house. Right. And so I did that a handful of times until I had a small portfolio. And then I was like, well, might as well get my real estate license. And
So you did all those deals with realtors.
with realtors, yeah.
So you're doing math as you go along.
Yeah.
You're like, I'm gonna get my license.
I don't even think I knew how much they were making, honestly.
Really?
Yeah. I was
You
just,
must have been the perfect client.
I was dumb.
The perfect client.
You know, yeah. But I think people, you know, in sales in general, the ones are the most unhappy are some of the ones that got the best deal, if that makes sense. So like when I was in the car business, you know, the people who would grind you to death on the price or whatever and just weren't happy were the ones who literally got the best deals, right? The ones who, you know, quote unquote, we made money off them or whatever were the happiest ones, right?
Yeah.
And I don't care if people made money off me.
Yeah.
I ended up winning in the end.
Right.
One of those properties that I bought in 2010, I 1031 exchanged that property into a lake house in Georgia right now that's worth 1.6 million that I put zero money into.
Nice.
Right. So I don't care if that realtor made money. I hope
Yeah.
they made all of it, you know? But I think some people worry about the minutia a little bit too much, you know, like tripping over dollars, picking up pennies, you know what I mean?
That's the prosperity mindset everybody talks about.
Yep.
So 2013, that's where we're at.
Yeah, 2013.
Okay.
Yeah.
You catch.
It was
it's
a
funny 'cause
summer day.
It was a summer day.
Yeah.
It's like we kind of got here. We're here for 2 years at this point. We're in Nashville figuring it out.
Yep.
You're getting your license, and so talk about like getting your license, getting to that team, growing that team, getting here. Like, what was that? How did that look?
Yeah.
How did that
So
unfold?
yeah, in 2013. So I after the crash, I had worked for a for-profit university, pounding the phones for 8 hours a day, recruiting people to college. Right. And so I learned how to sell on the phone. So I took those skills and got it into real estate. Right. I was like, I'm just going to continue pounding the phones and talking to people. I'm used to calling people 8 hours a day and do that same thing. Right. And so I did that, got my real estate license. Well, first, side note, I prepared myself. So for anybody listening who's thinking about getting into real estate, I set myself up with all my properties and sold stuff and paid off stuff. So where when I got into real estate, I had zero money, zero expenses. All my renters and tenants, paid for my house, my living, and everything. So I gave myself a runway to be able to be successful, right? You can't hop into real estate and think you're going to make it in 2 months, right? It takes time. And so I did all that. And then so I took some time off. I went to Australia for a month, and then I went to Thailand for a month and just read real estate books for 2 months and chilled.
You might be the most successful guy we've had on this show. This is awesome. This is awesome.
And so in all that, I needed a break. And so I came back, read a bunch of books, came back to real estate. It was April. Got my real estate license in February, took 2 months, then came back in April. And I just started, I didn't know what I was doing, right? Just like everybody, and just trying everything and trying to figure out your way. But I always was successful. I was successful in the car business and sales, and I was successful at the college and recruiting people. And so I just applied those things into real estate and just kept on grinding. And I ended up Rookie of the Year for all of Southern California for Keller Williams Realty. I think I sold 32 houses or something like that.
Through their training, or did you go out source your
I
training?
mainly did Keller Williams training.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of real estate agents think it's like HGTV where you're just opening a door and that's it, right?
They do.
Yeah. It's
They think
there's
that.
so much more to it.
Right.
And actually in being a salesperson, right? It doesn't mean you sell someone to something that they don't want. I'm not saying that. But you need to be able to make sure people understand what the process is, but also don't let them get in their own way as well, right? To meet their goals.
So Rookie of the Year, Keller Williams, 32 units, right? Units. Come on.
Yeah. It was 19 between April and December. And then by April of next year, it was 32.
Were you working on a team when you did that? Oh, wow.
No, for the people who aren't watching the video, I said no.
Okay.
I shook my head and I realized we're on a podcast.
But you decided somewhere along the line to grow a team. To start a team, grow a team.
Yeah. And that's what they said, to grow a team. When people telling you, what you should do and all that. And so I ended up hiring my first assistant, and, I had a coach. I hired a coach first, actually. And, they said, as soon as you are pulling your hair out for a month, and that's when it's time to hire your first assistant. And so and then I was like even nervous to do it then. And so then I was like, well, let me just hire an assistant who's willing to get paid when I get paid. Right. So I found a transaction coordinator who's used to getting paid at the close of escrow or close of contract. And so I said, well, I'll just up that. I think it was $300 at the time or whatever. And so I was like, why don't I give you $400 instead, but you do this other work for me too. And then it was no skin off my back because I didn't have to fork out the money up front. And so I did that and, continued to grow my team and spend money and buy more leads and buy this, that.
Right.
And,
How many people did you have on your team altogether?
At the height, as far as the amount of people, I think 28, something like that.
So you're the big team guy.
Yeah, it was a big team. Yeah. I mean, there's bigger, but it was a big team.
Yeah. And you were able to make an exit kind of, or maybe.
Yeah.
None of my business, but
Yeah, we can share that. Yeah. So in running the team for a while, and I was able to have the success in, from going to conferences, you learn all sorts of stuff. Right. And so in that, I was thinking like, hey, I need to be, on radio. I need to be on TV. I need to be in print. Right. So those items you can use forever, right? When you basically have social proof, when you're meeting with someone, So I went after HGTV first. My wife helped me secure that. So I within the first year in real estate, I got on HGTV, and then I kept on, going to them and them coming to me, asking me if they have clients to do the show. So I ended up doing 4 episodes of House Hunters.
Really?
Nice.
Yeah.
So you are from the entertainment business. That's cool.
So now on all my listing presentations and everything, like, hey, I see you on HGTV, right? And then I was like, I had a client. Well, someone in my office had a client. They introduced me, and what they do is help people write books and put them together. And they've worked with some famous people, and they liked our office or whatever, and gave me a great deal to help me write a book. Right? Wow. They didn't write it for me. They're not a ghostwriter, so I don't want to get everybody wrong. They just help you put all your thoughts together and organized and know how to get it published on Amazon. Right? And so he helped me do that. So then and with a strategy to help you become a best-selling. So I ended up becoming a best-selling author on Amazon.
Wow. Never knew.
Yeah. Don't read it. It's an old book now.
What's the name of it?
It's sold.
Nice.
Okay. So that was the next. And I was like, oh, I got TV now. I got a book, right?
Yeah.
Like, who's going to compete with that, right? And then I was like, I need a radio. So I got a radio show at the local radio station. It was an ESPN radio station. Wow. but they did, during odd hours or whatever, they did investment shows and real estate shows and all that. And so I ended up doing that. And that was kind of before podcasts, really blew up. And so now it's like, dude, you can't stop me now. I'm on TV. Any other realtor you're meeting with been on HGTV? Yeah. I don't think so. Right?
Signed a contract.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I grew the team and continued to do that and having success. And I've here in Nashville, my stepdad is from Franklin. Okay. And so I've been coming out here since I was a kid. Just, once a year or whatever, visiting his family. But then, my mom and my brother moved out here. And so I come out here and visit, and mainly Broadway and their house, but that's basically until Nashville. I moved here.
Yeah. That's where I was last night.
If you're not from here, you think Nashville, it's that street.
Yeah.
And then you move here and you're like, I hope no one ever asked me to go there.
Yeah. I was not having fun down there last night.
Yeah.
So
Christian's a bass player. He plays bass for fancy people.
Yeah.
He was down at Whiskey Jam.
Yeah, I was doing Whiskey Jam last night, so I had to go down there, and it had been a while since I'd actually been on the main drag too, and I was like, I'm out on this.
Just so many people.
Yeah, and so many people. It's loud. It's sensory overload, and I'm just like, man, that's too much for me.
Yeah.
So you had family here. Was that the motivation to move here?
Well, I always liked it every time I came, right? Especially once I got a little bit older and I was coming. My brother lived in Springfield, and so he had a few acres or whatever on a dead end road, and then everybody else had like 7 to 10 acres or whatever. So it was a really chill, quiet road, and we would just sit on his porch and ride his golf cart around and shoot guns in the back. And I was like, man, this place is amazing. I always felt relaxed when I came out here. And whenever I went back to San Diego, just the horns honking, the sirens, the buzzer, the trash on the street, just people everywhere, As I started to get older and, I got kids and all that, I was like, and the no tax here, that was nice.
So you literally gone country. Like the song.
Yep.
So now you've been here for how long? You've been here now? A couple years?
2.5 years now.
2.5 years.
Oh, okay.
You feel if you are Best move you ever made?
Best move.
Best move you ever made.
We've had some difficulties here. Would never change it again. I exited my team. I partnered my team. I moved it to EXP, and my partner who runs my team now has the number one team in all of EXP.
Wow.
And so we have a multi-year deal, so I still get paid, and I don't have to do the work.
Yeah.
So
it sounds like,
thing.
there's people who are in real estate, and then there's people who are good business people in real estate. It sounds like you really became, did you go to school for this, or did you just learn along
Technically,
the way?
yes. I do have my MBA, but...
Okay. That's technical. It's very technical.
Yeah.
But that has there's something to be said about that.
Yeah, but I've certainly made tons of mistakes, and
Sure.
I would certainly do a lot of things different if I had to do it all over again, which I'm kind of getting that chance here.
Yeah.
Right.
You're growing a team from scratch here. You started too.
Yes. Well, yes and no. So right in the middle, I don't know how much I can share right now, but we're right in the middle of a transition.
Gotcha.
Right now. So, I'm going to be building, there's a guy in San Diego, and he does this. It's basically a different way of doing real estate as far as how the team is built. He basically has him, an agent, another agent, and then like 5 or 6 assistants. Right. And the team model is very tough these days. Mm-hmm. The price of leads, the price of software, and everything else that goes with it, and then to make money, you really have to be on a large split with an agent on a team. And then that's tough to keep them because it's a large split. Mm-hmm. And then if you lower it, now you're not really as profitable. And then what are we doing here?
Right.
Right. So where you have multiple assistants, you can obviously do not have to split the commission with anybody and just have your expenses come out of 100% of commission instead of having your expenses come out of the 50% you get from the agent, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And to get in the weeds a little bit.
No, I like the weeds.
Yeah.
So, and then I met you, ultimately, that's where I met you, was at a sub 2. I've never been to a sub 2. I never heard of sub 2. And I couldn't believe I never heard. I don't know if you went through that too. It's like, how did it take me this long to hear about this?
Yeah.
And then I heard about it. I'm like, that's kind of genius. Talked to Christian about it. Christian's getting his loan. He's becoming a mortgage guy. And that's like the last thing a mortgage guy wants to hear about is sub 2.
Yeah, sub 2.
So we just stopped talking about it. But, I met a guy and we did a deal. And I went to a sub 2 meetup, and someone said, you got to meet Kimo. Kimo's a leader. He's this and that. And you showed up. And I think that's when you first moved here.
Yeah.
When you first moved here. So what the heck is that all? What does that even mean? Sub 2, when did you get involved with it? What's it been like? How does it integrate with the retail stuff you're doing?
Yeah, well, honestly, I wouldn't do retail if I didn't kind of have to. I'd rather do just investments.
Creative.
Yeah, creative or just investing in general. My wife and I have a portfolio of short-term rentals that we enjoy. She manages it, so she may not enjoy it as much, but we enjoy the investment side of things because obviously it gives you a little bit more freedom. The subject to stuff, I don't know how much in the weeds of that we want to go, but basically a creative way to buy a property, right? Ultimately, in doing it, for me, I haven't found the right deals for it because I like a lot of cash flow, and a lot of the sub 2 deals don't cash flow as much as they're sold to cash flow.
Right.
So,
but it's being in the sub 2 community and mentorship, you learned all about creative financing, like a college degree in and of itself, right?
Sure. Yeah.
And have you done a lot of deals like that since you've been in Tennessee?
No.
Yeah. We almost did a deal.
Yeah.
We almost did a deal.
Yeah. And I don't think there's plenty of deals out there, but in real estate, there's so many ways to invest in real estate, and you can't do them all.
Right.
Right. And I've really stuck to, what I normally do, which is short-term rentals and fix and flips and rentals, right? And I bought properties seller finance, which is a great way to buy properties. I prefer that over subject to, just because you have to worry about due on sale clause and all that, where seller financing is, you're paying the seller, right? A monthly payment. But like I said, you can't do them all. So we just recently did a property. We bought it, fixed it up, and it appraised for, I bought it for $245, and now appraised for $525. We refinanced it, pulled out money, right? Got some of our money back, and we turned it into short-term rental.
Nice.
And so that's what kind of we
Columbia?
enjoy.
Is this in Columbia?
Thompson Station.
Thompson Station. Yeah. Okay. What's the long game here? I mean, you have kids.
Mm-hmm.
You're in jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
How has jiu-jitsu helped you with? I mean, you started that here, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you're
my sons did it in San Diego,
and you're big into it.
Yes. Well,
you do tournaments.
I do tournaments. Yeah.
My daughter does jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
And I went to one of her. They do the family class, and some guy had a black eye.
Yeah.
And it was you. You did it. Kimo was the cause of the black eye.
Did I really?
Yeah, bro.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
I mean, I probably didn't show up right there when he happened, but it was nice, and he was a policeman.
Yeah.
Bell-Mead policeman.
Oh, I know. Yeah. I just messaged him the other day.
He's a cool dude. He didn't have hard feelings or anything.
I have a buddy of mine. He's into jiu-jitsu, guitar player, and he had an audition, but he was rolling with somebody the night before and caught a black eye, and then just walks into this audition for an artist with a giant black eye from doing jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
Stuff is so funny.
I think the guitarist from Megadeth.
Yeah.
I think he
this
trains.
wasn't, but there's a couple of guys in town who are in the music world who are super into it.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's always funny.
And they're very brave.
Yeah.
Because you need your hands.
Yeah,
that's playing bass.
Yeah.
You can't afford to.
I grew up doing
Sprain
martial
anything.
arts and would love to do it again, but
Yeah.
I don't bike. I love biking, all that
Right.
stuff, because it's one thing, and that's if you take a wrist injury,
Yeah.
there you have a good chance that it's never going to come back in the way that it was before the injury. That's why drummers super tough on them. If they take a wrist injury, they don't hit the snare the same way.
Yeah.
If it gets injured bad enough, or it's a full-on break. But that's why I've never done jiu-jitsu as an adult. I've always wanted to, but it's I just can't risk popping my collarbone or breaking my wrist, breaking a finger, anything like that.
Right. Yeah, you watch some of these people who are doing stuff. They're like, "Why are you doing that? You're gonna, it could totally change your career."
That's right. That's
Yep.
right.
Yeah.
It's interesting hearing your story. It's like everything you've done. It sounds like. I mean, obviously there's a struggle, the whole thing. But I mean, it's like you've picked a lot of winning moves. Do you attribute the beginning of that to the Coast Guard, like the stuff that you learned there, the discipline?
I don't know. I think
People talk about discipline all the time. But
Yeah.
when I see you and I hear you, I'm like, this guy got discipline.
Yeah, I mean, when I set my mind to do something, I do it. If I really want to do something, right?
Right.
You just do it, which I think is in everybody.
Mm-hmm.
I truly believe, and I've had to have this conversation, with my wife before. Sorry, babe, if you're watching this. We had the conversation where, earlier in our relationship, I truly believe that anybody can do anything. Obviously, there's limitations. If you're 4 foot, you're not going to be in the NBA. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about, if you have a goal, everything is figure outable, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Breaking it
If
down.
you have enough hustle and enough, anybody who's hungry enough, if they want to be a successful real estate agent, right? A lot of times they'll complain, oh, the leads aren't good or whatever. Go sit at an open house every single day for the next 45 days, live stream yourself on Instagram, invite people to come. You're going to run into deals.
Yeah.
But no one's that hungry, right?
We'll have a private conversation. Pretend Christian is here. I met Christian. He's getting his loan. He's getting into lending when rates are climbing past records we've never seen.
Yeah.
And I'm closing a real estate company, moving the company, and I'm thinking, oh my God, this guy's in for I felt bad for. He didn't feel bad for, and he was can't wait, and he's like, and I don't know how it happened, but I'm like, just go to, because I didn't know what to say, but I thought, well, what would I do? I said, go to open houses and just talk to real estate agents.
Yeah.
And he did that for a year.
Yeah.
And still does it.
Still do it
to this day.
Yep.
Like you said, you can, if you go out and chase it or go after it. I mean, but now, how many mortgage people do you know that has made that kind of commitment and done that kind of work?
No, I mean,
have you ever heard of it?
I mean, I've heard of lenders talking to agents, but it'll be something that they do for a month or
right. So that's what I'm saying.
Whatever.
This is an anomaly. We're sitting here with a living legend. He would go to 4 open houses a day, right?
Yeah.
You went Saturday, Sunday for a year.
Yep.
I've never heard of such a thing.
Yeah, still do it. I mean, I closed a deal yesterday from a guy, agent I met at an open house.
Right.
Yep. And just kept in touch, got to know him.
I think that is so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's and going back to it, like, if you want something bad enough, you can figure it out. I think people just don't want it bad enough. I mean, I was literally thinking I didn't do this, but two examples. One I did do and one I didn't do. But I really wanted to do it. I was going to live stream myself and in a vacant house, and I was going to live stream myself till the house sold, so I can create a whole like thing of people that could people watch me, and I would stay there until the house sold.
It's like Big Brother.
Yeah. And I was like, that could draw people in. I could put signs out front. I could, obviously market it, let people know when people tune in. Like, you create a name for yourself. I was thinking of stuff like people did at car dealerships in San Diego, where the sales manager would be lifted up in a crane. Until we sell 100 cars, I'm not coming down. And, doing just wild stuff, right? Yeah. You can do all those things, right? And then,
So you didn't do that.
I didn't do that one. But, I've done stuff like...
Still a good idea.
Yeah. I've done stuff like... Because when I was thinking about it, I had wife and kids, too, and so that's a little harder to do.
That's true.
But, like, I've done one where I took a sold sign, right? And I carried a sold sign for 30 days. Everywhere I went. Grocery store, bank, everywhere. And it starts conversations, right? People ask, what are you doing? Like, I'm actually heading over to go put this on a house I just sold, right?
Yeah.
People just ask you questions, right? Mm-hmm. And it's just little stuff like that can make the difference. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. You seem to don't care what people think.
No.
I mean, you care, but, like, I'll carry a sold sign for a month.
I took all my uniforms are tax deductible, right?
Sure.
Right? Yeah. This shirt is not tax deductible because it's just a dress shirt.
Yeah.
But what I did is I went and embroidered all my shirts right on the collar saying,
Kimo.
You want to buy a house? You ever thought about selling your house? And I just, now I got a tax deductible and I got conversation starters just when people are like, what does that say? Like,
You do the links.
Yeah.
Just sold.
Yeah.
Just sold.
And, it's just, I don't know, continually thinking, every time I paid a bill at the restaurant or whatever, putting my business card in there, like, you always have to be thinking about it. No one's thinking about you as a realtor. There's a million realtors.
That's right.
Right. So you have to make people think about you,
Yeah. I mean, I think that's so cool to come here, to humble yourself. You know what I mean? That, to me, it takes a lot of humility. The people who are musicians that make it, they find that, or they don't, or they get asked to leave.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
They get asked to leave.
Like, because they're not any good. When you get here, you must realize you're not that good anymore. Yeah. The guy at Burger King probably plays guitar better than you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But so, I mean, you're a badass real estate agent, but you humbled yourself, and you're just, is that, you find that's like a big part of success?
Yeah, it's been humbling since I came here because when I, partnered / sold my team, it had been, I would go on maybe one appointment a month at that point. Most of my agents were doing all the business. I used to do the majority of the business on the team, and then I slowly worked to get all the agents to do all the business, right? And so then I'm coming back here, and I'm like, well, I don't want to go on appointments anymore. You know what I mean? It's been a little bit. I just, but ultimately it's what I'm good at. It is actually what I enjoy, the sale. Right. Yeah. Managing real estate agents is not fun. You know what I mean? Like, no one grows up to say they want to manage real estate agents.
Yeah. Right. That's one. No.
Or actually being a real estate agent. Yeah. But, yes. And then, I've like I said, I've done plenty of mistakes. In some of the properties I've bought here, having terrible contractors, I just didn't have those issues in San Diego, consider it lucky or whatever, just didn't have those issues. And so I came here and had contractor issues, and that was like a kick in the gut, that I had to deal with, but you got to, what do? You just move forward and keep on pushing forward,
keep crushing.
Try to figure out how to turn, chicken salad into chicken shit or vice versa.
But yeah, man, I mean, so to go to meet you at the Sub 2 thing, and then to meet you in Colombia where we met, and Kimo came, he was all dressed up, he looked very nice. I try to dress a little more Colombia. Not the country but the town. And I thought, man, this is cool, like, because we're here trying to do the deal. And then you're at EXP and I'm at Real.
Yep.
And we always talk about collaboration over competition.
You still at Real?
Yeah, I'm still at Real. So, I mean, to me, that day was like the essence of what we talk about in terms of culture. Both companies.
Yeah.
Like, one's not better than the other, but we talk about that. But how we're not there trying to do anything. We're trying to do the deal.
Sure.
And being able here to sit like this and just talk about it.
I think that house is still vacant.
Is it?
I drive by it all the time. No one's ever there.
That's a shame.
Yeah.
That's a shame.
Yeah.
But we combined experience, like between Kimo and my experience, and then really knowing what was best for that seller. You know what I mean? Because we've seen all these things play out.
Sure.
We offered her a solution. You know what I mean? Like that, like you would your mom or your grandparents. I think that's what comes into play when you really have years in the business. When you've owned property, owned rentals, and we said it's going to stay vacant. Your neighbors are going to see the place. It could get vandalized, stuff like that. So, I mean, working with an experienced agent, you can't get that any other way.
Yeah, I mean, right before here, I came from a property. They've been trying to sell it with 2 other agents since I think it was March or April, right? I met with them, and they're like, no one's ever showed us these options.
Yeah.
They're like, yes. They actually, while I'm in meeting with them, they called the other real estate agents, canceled the appointments with the other agents. And they're like,
you
you're our
offer
guy.
to do it?
Well, I did not offer.
That's the real.
I've done that before.
That's
though.
the Mike Ferry way.
Yeah.
Like, you know what? I wouldn't even make you do that. I'll call it myself.
Yeah.
I'll call it myself.
The first time I used that, the people said, yeah.
Yeah.
And I called him. The guy was pissed.
Oh,
the agent was pissed.
Yeah. Oh,
I'm
sure.
like, you can bring a buyer.
Yeah.
You can still participate in this transaction,
That's
sir.
right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
It's just badass.
Yeah. But I don't know where we're getting at. But yeah, I mean, you can offer the solutions, but obviously you can't make a horse drink, right? Lead him in the water or whatever.
Yeah. So, is there any, if people, I mean, it seems like is one of those options you give people, hey, I'll sit in your house till it sells. We'll turn this into Naked and Afraid episode.
Yeah, Naked and Afraid.
Yeah.
But I mean, so today I see you're really big on social media here, right?
Trying to be.
Establishing yourself.
Yeah.
Is that the easiest way people can find you? And if people want to work with Kimo?
Yeah. Instagram, Kimo Quance, KIMOQUANCE. Instagram.
It's an interesting name for here. Is it a common name?
Yeah, my wife is like, you should go. So my legal name's James.
That's right.
And never been called James in my life, though. And she's like, you should go by James when you're here. And I'm like, yeah, but that's so weird. That's not me.
Right.
It's like people are going to be like, Kimo, who the hell?
Yeah.
And yes, it's a Hawaiian name. My grandparents lived in Hawaii. My dad lived in Hawaii, and my cousins are Hawaiian. And yeah, Kimo means James in Hawaiian.
So you're not necessarily looking for to expand into a 100-person team, mega team at this moment.
No, not necessarily right now. I am always looking for referrals. But
Yeah, of course.
you're in real estate too, so send referrals to Dan too.
No, I was going to say send referrals to Kimo. I mean, if you want an agent, I mean, you said you got 2 listing appointments today.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's badass.
Yeah. I'm always willing to help though too. I'm going to do a final walkthrough for another agent after this. It's not even my deal. I'm gonna go.
That's the difference.
I'm gonna go do a walkthrough with them. they'll bring something to me at some point, you know, or help me out at some point. Right. And you know what's actually changed too, moving to Tennessee as well, which, believe it or not, it actually made me a better person. You know, I think in California and San Diego, we are so worried about our own life and everybody else bumping into you. And, you know, it's almost like you don't even want to take the time to, you know, acknowledge someone else sometimes. Now that I'm here, like, I notice I've just became a better person by slowing down and, you know.
Yeah, California's funny. I don't know if you've ever seen those maps of like breaking down how people are regionally, and like I'm from the Midwest, so it's like we're always like unhappy, but we'll always go out of our way to help people.
Sure.
And it's like in California, it's like they'll always be nice to your face, but they're the people who will wave as you have a flat tire on the side of the road. And it's like I've traveled the entirety of the United States multiple times, and it's like. There's a lot
holds
of
up.
things. Yeah, it holds up. Like you got the East Coast thing, and then the Southern thing, and then the West Coast thing. It's like it breaks down. And Nashville is like one of those cool spots where people are like, it's a small community, and people do go out of their way to help other people, which is awesome.
Yeah. I find myself doing that way more now, slowing down, waving to people. Like in California, I honestly didn't even really want to, you know, my wife had asked me to go to the neighbor's house, see if we can get a cup of sugar or whatever it was. Right. I'm like, I don't want to go over there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And, you know, it's just completely different now. Like, I'm friends with all my neighbors now. You know what I mean? It's just a completely different, different thing here. I was in Minnesota, not last winter, the winter before. And I was driving, I flew into Minneapolis and was driving to Grand Rapids, which is, I think, 3 or 4 hour drive or whatever. And in the middle of winter, right? So there's, you know, 19 feet of snow or whatever it is. And I'm driving this little car, whatever, some cheap, whatever it was, little Nissan Sentra or something, way too small for me. Right. So I'm like, I'm going to do the safe thing, right? Because I needed a text, and it's like completely frozen over roads and gnarly. And I was like, let me pull over to do this text. So I go to pull over, and I thought it was level. And I go into a ditch. Okay. Right? Because there was there was no, I thought the road just continued, but it didn't. And I just go into a ditch. And literally someone pulled me out within minutes.
Oh, I grew up in Wisconsin, and that was, I can't tell you how many times we'd be driving down the road and you'd see somebody in a ditch and you'd pull over and you'd all be like pushing the car out. People are getting shovels out. Like it's a thing up there.
Yeah. They all had a nice laugh, you know, the Californian.
Yeah. I'm sure they did.
I can totally relate, you know, because I primarily grew up in Naples, Florida, and all of our neighbors, I didn't even know them. I mean, I knew of them. Sure. We knew of them. We never tried to make eye contact with anybody. Yeah. When I moved here, people got the door. It started with like the door, the manners. I didn't understand it. I didn't know how to take it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You almost feel like there's an ulterior motive.
Exactly.
I'm like, why are you being so nice?
Why are you getting the door, bro? You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
And then also, you know, just like, I don't know how it is in California, but you know, Southwest Florida is not really people from Southwest Florida. It's second homes to people from New York and New Jersey.
Yeah.
And, you know, that's their snowbirds.
Yeah.
You know, so when there is a need to tell someone off, it came off that way.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
Here, not so much. It's the bless your heart place.
Sure.
Which to me is even more hardcore because I don't know how to take that.
Yep.
I know how to take it when someone's
you know how to take it.
You know, now I do. Yeah. When I first got the bless my heart, I'm like, wow, that's really nice. And then like 3 weeks later, I'm like, they just told me to go myself. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
So there's like the pleasantries, the niceness, but there's that little bit of, you know, people still have feelings.
They're saucy here.
Yeah, they're saucy, but in a different way.
I
remember I told this friend that I met early on here some painful story about getting sued and everything in Naples, and how I still live with that or whatever. And she's like, you should send them a card. I was like, oh my God, that's the most gangster thing I've ever heard in my life. I never thought of sending a card.
What do you mean send a card?
But just, just to, bless their heart through a card, and I'm thinking, I'm going to go back there. I want to burn their house.
Yeah.
No, you don't want to do that. You want to send them a card. Yeah. I'm like, wow, that's, it hits on a whole new level.
It hits on a whole new level, man.
And then the Nashville no. I don't know if have you experienced in Nashville? No.
Maybe. I'm not going to learn right
Silence.
Yep.
It's silence.
Oh yeah.
Instead of saying no or it's over, you just don't hear anything. You
Yeah.
hear crickets. It's ghosting.
Yep.
I think Nashville might have invented ghosting.
Yeah. Oh man, and music, like I'm guilty of this. I've done this 100 times, and somebody will come up to you and they're like, "Man, we should hang out sometime." And then you go, "We should grab coffee sometime." And that's like what we would joke at about is like the Nashville no. And I started getting in the habit. I was like, is that a Nashville we should get coffee, or is that an actual we should get coffee?
That's right. Or an all the best. Have you gotten all the best?
All the best? I don't think so.
All the best is.
I've definitely got the Nashville no.
Yeah.
The Nashville no.
I haven't talked to you in a while, so
bless your
no,
heart.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah. I'm
just messing with you.
Will. But no, it's like leaving somebody hanging. So it's a different thing. But it sounds like you're adjusting. You've adjusted well.
Oh man, such a great community. Whether it's jiu-jitsu, the real estate community, the school, meeting the other parents, the football. You know, my kids play football and baseball and basketball and all that stuff. Everybody's been, you know, I've had road rage maybe once.
Yeah.
You know, which was on a regular occurrence in San Diego.
And you're in College Grove, right?
Thompson Station.
Thompson Station.
Yeah.
Okay. So, is that your is that your main place that you try to sell real estate? Or you're just all over the place.
Maury and Williamson.
More in Williamson.
Yeah.
So if someone wants the Williamson super experienced, can offer solutions that no one may even know about in terms of selling their house.
Sure.
On social media, they should call Kimo.
They should.
They should call Kimo.
Yeah, man. I've seen every situation from I've had sellers die while under contract.
Right.
I've had a house burned down. This wasn't my fault, but I've had a house that burned down while we're under contract selling it.
Wow.
You know, every single situation you can think of that can happen in real estate, I've probably experienced it. So I have the ability to work the way through it. You know,
hard deals. I remember my first broker told me the first, like my the first deal that falls apart. And you just want your mommy and go to the broker, old experienced guy. And he told me his first deal, the person got run over on the way to the title company to the closing.
Oh my God.
And it all my pain went away. Yeah. I'm like, what's worse than that?
Yeah.
You know? So, but yeah, man, I really appreciate you coming out.
No, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
And if you want to fight Kimo, you could probably go to the jiu-jitsu place. He what belt at this point? Does it matter? Doesn't matter.
I mean, I'm just a white belt.
I've
been training for 2 years, just about 2 years. I train 5 to 7 times a week.
And you get you do the early class.
Yeah,
that's a special thing too.
Do the 6 a.m. class.
The people who do the early class, like you get up and you just, I'm gonna go jiu-jitsu. I mean, are you? Do you need to warm up? Do you need to like do yoga?
Yeah, I was yawning this morning. So this morning I was a little tired. Right, and the instructor's like, training us, and I'm like yawning. Like, are you okay, Kimo? You all right? Like,
nice.
Yeah, I'll get there.
Nice, but yeah, man, I think it's good place to wrap up.
Good place to wrap. Yeah,
thank you.
Is there any other thing you want to bring up to our fine audience?
I don't think so. Like I said, if anybody needs anything, if they're in Middle Tennessee or anywhere else, or just have some questions, I have no problem helping out agents. So if you just, have a question or whatever it is, don't hesitate to reach out no matter where you are.
Yeah.
So
awesome. Service, heart of a servant.
Yeah.
He'll do a walkthrough with you if you're just scared to get under that crawl space. But hey, man, thanks for coming out.
Thank you. Appreciate it, guys.
Thank you.